Everybody, welcome once again to the 4th annual Miller High Life Professional Duckpin Classic. Today's men's professional competition is being brought to you in part by Greenway Bowl East and by Miller High Life. I'm Stacy Carton. My colleague for today's telecast is Joe Rainier. We have 5 top professionals this afternoon challenging for the first place and the top prize of $2,000. We had a field of 206 men entries. They bowled a 10-game qualifier. The top 30 were placed in 5 divisions of 6 each. The winners of the match play compose our field today. Let's look at how the matches shape up. The number 5 bowler from Baltimore, he has 2 tour victories to his credit, John Crunkelton. He'll meet the number 4 bowler from Laurel, Maryland, Ken Palmer. The winner of that match will meet the number 3 bowler from Baltimore. He has a tour title to his credit, Vic Blancellotta. The winner of that match will meet the number 2 bowler from Baltimore, Bill Honeycutt. And waiting in the wings, the number 1 seeded bowler from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. He has the tour championship, Gene Fairlett. We certainly have a tremendous field of bowlers in our top 5, Joe. How do you see these matches shaping up?
They're going to be great matches, Stacy. You have all the makings of an exciting afternoon of bowling. You have a lot of experience. You have 3 bowlers in the ladder who are very familiar with the conditions here. They bowl out of this house, and the scores have just been incredible all weekend. So we're going to have an exciting afternoon.
In the women's finals that just took place, they averaged slightly over 150 per game. What do you think the men will do?
Well, you have Gene Fairlett sitting on top in the ladder, who is for 15 games this weekend averaged 167. So we'll have to step back and see, but the pins are flying.
Yeah, we could see some tremendous scores. We'll have our opening match when we return. And we're back at Greenway East, a beautiful bowling facility, 54 duckpin lanes. In fact, it's the largest facility of duckpins in the world. And we're ready for our opening match, and that will be John Crunkelton against Ken Palmer. Should be a very, very tight match, Joe.
Well, Stace, in the ladder, the 4th bowler in this case would choose whether he wants to lead off, bowl the first box, and then bowl the 10th box last. That would give him the hammer, so to speak, to throw the last ball. And that was, of course, John Crunkelton.
Okay, Ken Palmer will start it off on the left lane. After he bowls, John will then bowl 2 frames. And Ken starts off with a smashing strike.
And here we go, folks.
I think this will be the sign of things to come this afternoon. Ken is a very hard thrower, probably one of the hardest on the men's pro tour.
You have 2 very strong bowlers. You're going to find in the ladder today many styles, different speeds, finesse, power, the whole.
And John comes right back and matches him, so we're all even after 1 frame. As you can see from John's shirt, he's got 2 stars. He has won 2 tour stops in his short 5-year career. Currently, he carries a 149 average. Excuse me, Joe. Last year, John was ranked 15th in the nation, 4th in Baltimore with a 145 average.
About 2 years ago, Stace, John Crunkelton had a string that just was incredible. When he went on the lanes, he was almost even money to walk away with a victory. He really put his game together.
He comes back, leaving the 7-8 split. 1981 was a very good year for John Crunkelton. He won 2 pro tours at Airway 32 in Rhode Island, at Holiday Lanes in Connecticut. He won the Fairlanes Recreation Inaugural and the Fairlanes Presidential Open, so he won 4 tournaments that season. Picks up the 7 pin, so he still has the 8 remaining.
His break in the second box was just a very unfortunate break. He put the ball right there. Matter of fact, he'd like to put the next 8 boxes the ball in the same place. It just was a very unfortunate break.
Okay, all 10 for John Crunkelton gives him 29 after 2 frames. Ken Palmer will come up in the second, working on a strike in the first frame.
The viewers will take notice, as hard as these men throw the ball, they're still shooting the object pin constantly after to hit the closest pin to them.
And he just gets that one to tip over, so Ken has got a double header, strikes in the first and second frame.
Duckpin magic.
Ken has really been maturing as a bowler the past few years. He hasn't won a pro tour yet. He's come pretty close. He does have 4 other tournament wins to his credit. He's from Laurel, Maryland. Was ranked number 11th in the nation last year with a 148 average. Now, Ken spends a lot of time in a bowling center. He manages Fairlane's Marlow Heights in Temple Hills, Maryland. So he spends probably 99% of his time in a bowling center. And he's got a triple header. Ken Palmer could do this. He can turn on that type of scoring almost like a faucet. 2 years ago, he became at that time just the second man in the Duckpin game to bowl a 600 set. He had a 601. The highest Duckpin set ever is 655. This is the 4th annual Miller High Life Duckpin Classic. First prize, $2,000. Second prize, $1,000.
John chopped through the middle, leaving the 2, 8, 6, and 10. And again, he's going to shoot the object pin. He's got to make something happen. Kenny is definitely out and running. I'd like to remind the viewers that there is a $10,000 prize to the bowler who would break the men's world record for one game, which is 266. And at this point, Kenny Palmer is going along with a 300 clip.
And that record is shared by 2 people. That's Robert Farr and Dick Westlake. Dick did it last summer. The 266, an awful lot of bowling, Joe.
Well, it's only been done twice, so that speaks for itself. Needless to say, John is in the hole. He is... Kenny just hasn't made a mistake. He's got 30. He's got 50 working in the second box, so he's 30 to 35 pins ahead of John at this time. But John has the capabilities of turning this thing around and doing the identical thing that Kenny did in the first 3 boxes, and we'll just have to wait and see. John don't know he's defeated yet.
No, that's for sure. John's a 35-year-old. He is from Baltimore, and he's the proprietor of the Brooklyn Lanes. And he comes up with a strike. Important strike for John Crunkelton in the 4th frame. And that will bring up Ken Palmer. He's got a string of 3 going. I'd like to correct myself. John is the proprietor of the Edgemere Lanes, not Brooklyn. I'm sure the owner of the Brooklyn Lanes would have been surprised to hear that. Okay, Ken Palmer, 3 strikes in a row, 4th frame. Now that breaks the string. Leaves himself a fairly makeable spare shot.
3, 5, 6, and 10. He's going to shoot the 3-pin. He really isn't bothered at what side he hits it on.
He chops right through.
He just didn't want to do that. It's the only thing could hurt him. In this game, we tend to want to shoot a pin, 1 pin, our object. We picked that out, and in that case, it was a 3-pin, and it was unfortunate he hit it full in the face.
And a 9 for Ken Palmer in the 4th. He's got a total of 82. Crunkelton has 48 plus in the 4th, so a pretty sizable lead right now for Ken Palmer. But we still have a long way to go. If you were with us for the ladies' matches, you could see that the game could turn around at any moment. And he leaves himself that same break. He must be doing something that's consistent at least.
Well, the difference, Stace, is he's not getting the ball out in front of him. The ball is coming out of his hand a little early, and he's losing the revolutions on it, so he's not mixing them.
And that time he came a little bit closer. He leaves the 10-pin. So this would be 2 open frames in a row for Ken after starting off with a triple header. Give a little bit of breathing room now to John Crunkelton to try to catch up.
Well, John's a very explosive bowler, and he has the ability to turn this thing around. Just for instance, if he would go spare strike in the 5th, 6th, he's going to be 58, 78 in the 5th, and he's within 14 pins. So 2 open boxes in a row is something that we always try to stay away from.
In his career, John has had a high game of 240, a 3-game set of 559. And he leaves himself just a terrible split, not the kind of ball he'd want in an effort to try to catch up here in the middle of the game.
The 1, 3, 4, and 9, it's makeable. I tell you, in Greenway Bowl East, anything is makeable for these pro bowlers. The pins just are flying so well that John he wanted that a little bad. He knew he needed a big count or a doubleheader,
and he picks that up beautifully. Again, there's some of that duckpin magic. You throw a ball hard enough with enough spin on it and get the right pin action, you're going to make those kind of shots.
I tell you, Stace, it just gets more incredible if these guys are as excited as I am watching. We don't know what's liable to happen.
These guys are the best. You're watching the top professional bowlers just showing the skills that we wish we all had. Unfortunately, they're a select few, but everybody can bowl and have a good time at it. Comes back and almost picks up a strike, leaves a 7-pin standing.
He's within 15 pins, Stacy. He's made a game out of this.
Reduced it substantially.
He's made a game out of it. He realizes he's playing his game. He's an experienced bowler. And the game's not over till the game's over, as they say.
As Yogi Berra used to say. And John misses that spare shot. That could be crucial. We'll find out, certainly, as the game progresses.
He may have gotten a little anxious at time, and the corner pins are probably our toughest pins. You have to execute. You have to exaggerate your execution a little further, as he made his correction and picked up the 10, but that was a very big spare that he let get away.
John qualified after the 10 games. He had a 1569. He was 13th. That's a 156 average. Here's Ken Palmer up in his 6th frame. And he comes back with a solid shot. This pin just rolls off the back. So he's got certainly an easy spare shot right now. And he picks up the spare. You can see Ken concentrating and breathing in and out, getting himself ready. He didn't rush at all.
I bowled with John Crunkelton yesterday in the 10-game qualifier, and believe it or not, as hard as John throws the ball, I commented to him after about a game and a half that it appeared to me he was overthrowing the ball because things weren't breaking for him. And this morning he stopped me and thanked me. He said, "Joe, I slowed it up, and over the last 5 games he averaged over 165.
And there's a strike for Ken. He certainly got enough action on that toss, and he's going to put himself back into a comfortable lead, depending on how John Crunkelton fares.
He has a 25-pin lead in the 6th box, and there again was a shot of a little duckpin magic. You pick your target out, line yourself up, square your shoulders, and try to get as much on the ball as you can, and it makes these things happen.
Since you helped John yesterday, maybe he'll share part of his prize winnings with you.
Well, thank you was enough. I enjoy. He'll return the favor one of these days.
And he comes up with a strike. Neither bowler, of course, refusing to give up anybody's game. Crunkelton has 97 plus in the 7th. Palmer has 122 plus in the 7th.
The bowlers have bowled 7 boxes apiece, 14 boxes, and we've had 7 strikes. And we used to keep this statistic in the Baltimore Pro League, a group of about 60 very good bowlers in the Baltimore area, and no one averaged over 1 strike a game for an entire season. And here you have Ken Palmer with 4 this game and Crunkelton with 3.
Okay, Crunkelton working on a strike. He's in his 8th frame. He picks up 5 pins. He's still counting.
He hit the pin he shot at, Stace. He hit his object, but he had a little less extension. If you watch,
he'll try to pick up this difficult spare. Almost gets it, leaves 1 pin standing. And you can see John is certainly dejected, somewhat confused as to why he can't get some better hits.
Well, Stace, when he got up to bowl the 8th frame, he knew he had to put the ball there and break 8, 9, or hopefully a doubleheader. And I think he was upset at himself because he didn't execute it as he's capable of executing.
Okay, Crunkelton 115 after 8. Palmer entering the 8th. He's got 122, and he's counting on a strike in the 7th frame.
The thing is to do in these head-to-head matches is maintain the consistency of your speed and your delivery.
Comes up with another strike. It's really amazing to see how the pins can really go back and forth across the lanes like that, and that's where he's getting the majority of his good hits at.
Well, he's putting the ball where he wants it, and Kenny gets a lot on it. If you watch the extension of his follow-through and where the ball is released in his delivery, it's out in front of him, he's trajecting the ball out onto the lane, and he's just getting so many revolutions that it. You can see where his hand is at as he's releasing the ball, and the ball is out over the foul line.
Okay, Ken getting ready. In 8 boxes, he's got 5 strikes, a spare, and 2 open. Now he leaves himself a tough spot right there, but Ken's not the kind of guy that will upset. He'll come back, he'll fight that off. Ken has a goal. As I mentioned, he hasn't won any tours yet, but he hopes to be Bowler of the Year one day on the Pro Tour. Still has a 7-pin standing. So Ken sets his sights high, wants to be number 1.
Well, Stacy, at this point in this game, Kenny has 169, and the best John can do if he strikes out, which would be 4 strikes in a row, would be 175, which would put Kenny on a 7-box. So I like Kenny's chances at this point.
Yes, I would say just keep the ball in play, and he's got it wrapped up.
It was an unusual game with both bowlers to this point only making
a strike for Crunkelton, so he's still doing the best that he can.
Well, he's going to post his score, and, you know, he's just a little upset with the 1 pitch he made. I'm sure he'll go in the back when this game's over, and no one will have to tell him where he made his mistake. But it's very unusual. We have 2 spares in 18 boxes, and the bowlers they just have the pins moving so well. The conditions here are ideal, and it just is a snowball effect. And, you know, the bowlers are just so pumped up that the scores are just going to keep climbing.
Oh, he leaves a tough 7-8.
And John had the same split twice. He had it in the 2nd box and the 10th box, and they never help you. He's going to have a respectable game. 140. If he shoots one of these, he'll shoot 142 game.
Ken Palmer will be the winner. He doesn't even have to really roll the last ball just to get his pins to give him his final score. And Crunkelton finishes with a very, very fine 142. Palmer already has 169 going into the last frame. So again, he wants to keep his momentum, not lose his concentration, be ready for the next match.
Quite often in this situation, Stace, a bowler will make a mistake. He's in the ladder. He's going to advance to the next game. He knows he's won this game, and you can lose your concentration because you're bowling what seems as a needless box. See, Kenny's hand is coming through the ball so strong. He's got that lift at the last minute, and he's on a high right now.
He picks up his spare. He has 179 plus whatever he gets on this ball.
He's going to shoot in the mid-80s, mid to high 80s.
Ken does average 148, so you can see that he is significantly over his average. And he strikes in his last ball. So Kenny finishes with a 189. Our opening match is complete. Ken Palmer defeats John Crunkelton 189 to 142. We'll return for our quarterfinals match right after this.